Well, hello again and welcome back to another video. In this video I thought I'd take a look at how best to protect your bike from theft. It seems in the UK at the moment we are having a bit of an epidemic of bike thefts. Thefts of cycles has risen 10% over the last year, and you perhaps buy an expensive bike, like for instance like the Volt Pulse here, one of my Pulse cycles. This is obviously the e-bike, the battery bike, but you might buy just an ordinary bike, you know, and that can set you back an awful lot of money. So how best is it to protect your bike? And I'll have a look and show you what I use, if that's any guidance to anybody, if you're looking into buying a bike, or you're thinking about leaving your bike anywhere for the first time. So I'll put the camera on the tripod and we'll have a look at a few bike locks I've got. So I thought obviously I would show you what I use to lock my Volt bikes up with. I do cycle into a local town, and hence I do leave the bikes. I have to say I don't leave them for any length of time. It does seem at the moment in the UK the problem obviously with bike thefts is more when people leave them, say, in a rail station for any length of time, but bikes are being stolen anywhere and everywhere. And it's quite amazing the lengths that people go to steal a bike, which, thinking about it, how cheap some bikes are, it does make you wonder. But what I use, well, my main, when I bought the first Volt Pulse, I did insure it for a year, and obviously that was expensive, but the bike was expensive to buy. And so I thought for a year, you know, I would insure it. So, and it was comprehensive insurance. You know, if the bike was stolen and I'd locked it with the right chain, it was a replacement bike. That's how it was. You know, it works. You can get more basic insurance, but the trouble is, when you see the chain I had to buy to comply with that insurance was this Oxford chain, and this is gold rated, and that's the only way, by using this, and it had to be locked up every time using this to comply with the insurance. Any other sort of lock wouldn't have done it. It had to be an Oxford gold rated lock. And even at home, I have a means in the garage here where the bikes are locked down to something substantial using this, because if you have your bike, often people think they have their bike stolen at home, they'll be on their household insurance. If they're not locked up, and if it's an expensive bike, you really need to add it on to your household insurance anyway as an extra item. But in any case, whatever you do, if the bike isn't locked up in your garage, the insurance will virtually laugh at you, so I'm told. So that's one chain I use. It's simple. That one has a simple key, and it unlocks like a padlock, and this D lock comes off. I mean, we could do it if you like. We just put a key in, and that D lock comes off there, and then you can put it around the bike and chain it to something, you know, a bike rack or something substantial, whatever sort of way you're parking your cycle. So that is very good. There again, I'm told people are taking like motorised disc cutters, angle grinders, petrol angle grinders, and I don't think that would last, you know, probably many seconds. If you've got one of those, you could cut through that chain. So a good deterrent. And I think for me, how I park my bike up, you know, for a little while, for a couple of hours say, and obviously a commonsensical kind of thing, you know, the police at the moment are telling everybody park your bike in a well lit. If you know there's CCTV in that area, well, that's even better. So, you know, do choose your location, obviously, where you're leaving your bike, and make sure it's a proper bike rack. The other thing is, and I believe this is a D-lock, one of the D-locks. There again, comes with a key, and you just unlock it, and then you can put it round the bike. I think this one is also gold rated for insurance, and what it's probably best to do is have, like the chain, like the Oxford chain down there, and this one, and obviously that is time. It's delaying people down. You've probably, you know, got to have two different ways of attacking these, and if you've got one on the back and one on the front, and people see that, it's probably going to, it might not, it might save your bike on that particular day. So they're very good. The D-lock's very strong. There again, not beyond the bounds of possibility to cut them off, you know, very easily, but more harder with bolt croppers on you know, some of the old bike chains you see. I see bikes locked up and they've got a flimsy little chain that you could cut through with, you know, a good pair of bolt croppers that you could almost fit in your pocket. So do get something, you know, that's rated and quite substantial. I also use this a lot. This is quite old now, a bit like the Oxford lock. It has a key, and this one is meant to be extra tough, and this was in its day a motorcycle front wheel lock. Very good, very strong. There again, it would take some cutting through. You know, you're never going to stop people stealing cycles. It's a process, you know, of delaying them, and obviously a deterrent. If, you know, particularly if you went bananas and put 3 locks on, well, there's every chance, you know, that will slow somebody down, you know, and hopefully somebody might see them, or they might get disturbed, or they might get fed up and not be able to remove them. So, as I say, they're the 3 locks that I use on my Volts. More often than not, I will always put 2 of those on. More often than not, these 2, the Oxford chain and the D-lock. I find that a good combination. The trouble with this is, it is incredulously heavy, this Oxford chain. I mean, I have panniers, so it fits in my panniers okay. If you don't have panniers, you know, I suppose you could loop it back onto the carrier rack at the back there and put it in a bag and carry it that way quite securely. Put it in a, you know, a heavy duty sort of plastic carrier bag and leave it and put a bungee strap onto the carrier. That's another way round you could do it. You know, you don't really want it clanking about round the frame of the bike when you're going along. The D-lock, you can get special brackets that fit onto the bike, and they fit on, you know, I never do. There again, it just goes in the zip compartment of my panniers, and I find those very good. As I say, so always, as I say, always pick your location where you're going to, you know, leave your bike. And if you don't know an area, I would say park where there's other bikes. Obviously, there again, commonsensical kind of thing, isn't it? And as I say, do look for lighting and CCTV in that area. And what do you do if your bike gets stolen? Well, I don't think there's a lot you can do. I'm told at the moment in time, the police in the UK do nothing. They'll give you a crime number, and then virtually the next day that case is written off. Nobody wants to know, basically. There's been several reports recently, local to me, where bikes have been stolen, that people have then, after they've lost their bike and it's been stolen, they've actually looked on certain websites. I'm not going to infringe myself by saying what sites, but I think everybody knows certain websites where things get sold, and they look on there regularly, and lo and behold, their bikes have come up for sale, and they have phoned these people and gone to look at the bike, and then managed to, you know, say, this is my bike, you've stolen it, and you either give me the bike back or we have the police here. I mean, that's fraught with danger. You don't know, you're dealing with criminals here. I would never suggest that. You know, I think at that point it might be best, if they will, they might not, but if you could get the police involved and get them, and report it to them and see what happens, they probably wouldn't do nothing. So that's why you have so many people have taken this into their own hands, which, I think is a shame. I'm also led to believe that over the last year the police have shelved virtually all the cycle officers that deal with biking incidents and bike thefts. That whole side has just gone out the window due to cuts and staffing issues and not being enough police force to deal with this. So there's basically nobody dealing with this now. So it's hardly surprising that bike theft has gone up such an alarming rate. And you only have to, if you don't believe me, just Google it and you'll see that every town and city, there's 6, 7, 8, 9, 12, however many bikes being stolen a day in the UK. It is in some parts it's worse than others, and it's almost an epidemic. So what else can you do? Well, in a moment we'll have a look. One very important thing to do, and if you haven't do it straight away, is make a note of your bike's serial number. And for obvious reasons, because if it does get stolen and then you do manage, or somebody manages to track the bike down, you want some kind of reference to prove that it's your bike. So we'll come on to that in a minute. So I've just inverted my old default pulse here, just to show you. I don't know how well you'll see this, but there we have a number. You can see there where my finger is, and that is the all-important serial number. It's usually somewhere on the bottom of the bike. Usually it can be stamped here, sort of round it can be stamped there. Just have a good look round the bottom frame of your bike, and as I say, that's the all-important number to make. It'll be between a 6 and a 10 letter and digit number, and that is the all-important serial number that you want to make a note of, because as I say, if the bike does get stolen, that's the reference you will need, really. I suppose you could say that it's possible that these could get angle grinded off, but if somebody's prepared to do that, I mean, it's beyond the realms of, is it getting worth it? I also have, because I shall never sell these bikes, and I run the bikes till I wear them out, basically. I have one of these infrared marker pens, and at certain points on the bike I've also marked parts of the bike with my postcode. So there again, if the bike was stolen and then I needed proof that this bike was mine, because it's always them against us sort of thing, how do you prove it's your bike? Then I know that that will show up under infrared light, and it will show my postcode, my home postcode. So that's another good tip you can do. Obviously it's very limited. You can only do so much. You can only sort of lock your bike in a secure area and hope that it gets okay, but a lot of people don't make, take the serial number of the bike. Do that and make a note of it and keep it somewhere safe. And obviously when you report, if your bike suffers the unfortunate fate of being stolen, you can then report that to the police and give them that number there. As I say, I don't think in the UK at the moment anybody will do anything, unfortunately, but it is certainly worth looking online at various sites where things are sold, for a couple of 3 weeks after your bike is sold, particularly in your locality. Look for any bikes. The thing about Volts is they're not that common, certainly not round here in Northamptonshire. They are, still quite a rare bike to be seen. So that does make it, obviously, I'm not going to say any less of a deterrent to steal it, probably more of a deterrent, because it's more of a bike that people might want, being the battery bike. But it does, there's less sold, and obviously probably makes it easier to, you know, find if you can. As I say, you can insure your bike. You can fully comprehensive insure it, like for new for old. It is very expensive, and to be absolutely honest, I did it for a year, but after that I don't think it was really viable. And as I say, you've got to remember then you must buy the lock that your insurance company states that you need to lock that bike up with, because they will specify it has to be more than likely the Oxford chain gold or the D lock, which is gold rated. So yeah, there we go. It's sad really that, you know, we can't keep bikes safe, and I don't know really what the answer is. A few years ago around here it was no problem because cycles got so cheap. It wasn't really worth, you know, stealing them, but now people seem to want to steal anything again. So yeah, just take the precautions. You know, never ever leave your bike unlocked anywhere, even at home. You know, make some sort of arrangement in your shed or garage, and you know, put your chain on the bike there. So yeah, I hope some people might have found that interesting. As I say, touching wood, as we say in this country, I've never lost a bike, and you know, always, you know, pay great attention to detail in where I lock my bike up and what I lock it up with. So thanks for watching. Please do subscribe, please do comment. You know, if you've got any ideas, any thoughts on keeping bikes safe, and we'd love to know. But thanks for watching, and bye for now.